Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This is the English translation of the Majlis of Hazrat Maulana Qamar Uzzaman Saheb Damat Barakatuhum, which took place on Monday, the 28th of Safar, 1444, corresponding with the English date 26th of September 2022. This Majlis took place more or less at about 12 noon at Mazahirul Ulum Waqf, Saharanpur, UP, India. Hazrat Wala starts off this majlis by quoting the ayat of the Quran Majid, وَاصْبِرُ نَفْسَكَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ رَبَّهُمْ بِالْغَدَاةِ وَالْعَشِيِّ يُرِيدُونَ وَجْهَهُ وَلَا تَعْدُ عَيْنَاكَ عَنْهُمْ تُرِيدُ زِينَةَ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَلَا تُطِعْ مَنْ أَغْفَلْنَا قَلْبَهُ عَنْ ذِكْرِنَا وَاتَّبَعَ هَوَاهُ وَكَانَ أَمْرُهُ فُرُطًا. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was in his private apartment, and he was commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to come out. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, if we can describe it, was completely connected to the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was in solitude, and at that time he was commanded by Allah to come out. We learn from all of this that there are occasions and sometimes for solitude, and occasions and other times for coming out into the open amongst people, khalwat and jalwat. Somebody said to Hazrat Tanvi that my heart desires that I sit in solitude. So remember something, that solitude is always not praiseworthy. Nevertheless, Hazrat Tanvi then answers him and says that khalwat mein shohrat hai or shohrat mein aafat hai. That listen, you're going to sit in solitude, there will be some type of fame that will come about with this. And with the shohrat and this fame that comes about, there will be a great challenge and a type of a calamity that can come on you as well. So for every person it would be different. For someone it would be solitude, khalwat, and for someone else it will be jalwat, coming out into the open amongst people. For someone it would be for him to speak, and yet for another it would be silence. Was it Maulana Shabir Ahmad Sahab or Maulana Zafar Ahmad? They said to Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab that aap bola kijiye, why don't you talk, why don't you speak? But he never spoke. We're speaking about the initial days when he was in the Khanqa of Hazrat Tanvi. He never spoke. But after that, Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab spoke so much that I don't think there was moments of silence then. On one occasion, I'm saying this for the Talaba, that Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab said to me that, Qamar Uzzaman, where were you today? Meaning I didn't attend that majlis. Whereas I can't even remember more or less every single majlis I had attended. On that occasion I did not attend. And Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab said that you were not here. Where were you? So I said to him that Ghar mein se, Hazrat, at home, she was not well. So Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab said that okay, you were serving her and she was not well. It will bring peace to me because that is my daughter. But I cannot tolerate that some type of nuqsan comes to you in the deeni aspect. I cannot tolerate that. You know, when I came from Darul Ummah, and at that time I asked Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab to advise me. So what was his advice to me? That I remember it till today. Har kuja pastist, ab ajarawad. Every place that is low-lying, water will eventually land up there. Meaning the lesson of humility. It is only then that the nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will come. When a person understands his weakness, it is only then that he will make progress. In this path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most harmful thing is to have claims of Kamal. Rather, what we have to do is that we have to negate this Kamal and this excellence, if there is any within us. We have to negate that. The hadith of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, "Inna lil ilmi tughyanun kama hiya lil mal." Most definitely, for knowledge, there is also a rebelliousness that comes with it, just like how it comes with wealth. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab used to even add, he should say, "Hakadha fil ibadat." And similarly, we can say this for ibadat, that it comes with some type of pride, arrogance, that rebelliousness that comes with it. And that the salat, from posture to posture, rather we start off with this, that Allahu Akbar. What is it? Allahu Akbaru min kulli shay. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is greater than everything else. Now, if we're saying that in salat, how is it then that we have this false claim of perfection in front of Allah? The Sahaba, it is said about them that they had in their khalawat, they had tasbihat. In their moments of solitude, they were in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab used to tell us that aqrabu tariq, the closest path, the nearest path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that of tilawat. And he would go on to say that in dhikr, the nisbat there is weaker, and in tilawat it is stronger. So much so in the end, when Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab reached his old age, and then we used to say to him that, Hazrat, don't speak, because it's going to have an effect on your health now. Even, in fact, the doctors even told him that. So I'm addressing the students now, that already from now, they should turn their attention in this direction. Don't we see and understand that a child is commanded to read Salat at the age of 7, and yet at the age of 10, we are told to beat them if they do not read Salat. La taslabul jarratu fi kulli marra. So, that same hadith then says that at the age of 10, make sure that you separate their beds, because it is not on every occasion that the bucket would be safe. So you have to make ihtiyat. Doesn't this happen so many times that you're negligent or this or that? And even if you're not negligent, so many times you put the rope down so that the bucket can fall into the well and then pick up. And so many times the rope falls in. Many times this happens that you lose the bucket and the rope comes up. It was said to one Buzruk that it is mentioned, the riwayat are clear there, that when a person becomes older, then his hopes become even more. He has long hopes. And these hopes of his actually become younger now, meaning that he has more hopes now in this old age. So they asked him about that. So then he answered, so beautifully, he says that we made such an islah, leave alone that these hopes go further and they progress. These hopes were not even created in the first place. There was a great alim, and he said to Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab, now this whole incident is taking place in the Khanqa of Hazrat Tanvi. And he says, Mauli Wasiullah, जैसी तवज्जो होना चाहिए ऐसी नहीं, that the type of attention that I was feeling, that I supposed to be getting, I supposed to be enjoying from Hazrat Tanvi. I don't find that. So this was the Sati. This was his colleague and his friend. But look at the answer that he gives him. He says, आपके अंदर कुछ बड़ाई महसूस करते होंगे. That he must be finding some type of airs, some type of pride and highness in you. But he took that nasihat, and after that he humbled himself to what an extent, complete and total annihilation of himself, due to which he reached the highest stages of excellence and kamal. Now this is what happens when a person is humble. Har kuja pastis, aap aja rawad. Look at Umar radiyallahu ta'ala an. He asks a sahabi who is of a lower level than him, but he asks him a question. Did he not know what was taqwa? Of course he knew, but then too he asked him that, tell me, what is taqwa? And then the sahabi then answers to him, and he says to him, didn't you ever go through by a thorny forest? And tell me, how would you walk between the trees? And Umar radiyallahu ta'ala then answers and he says that I'll gather my clothes together, I'll be so careful, and I'll walk like this and I'll do like that. So look at this, look at the beautiful answer that he even gives, that he was asked about something which is abstract, and he gives the answer to that which is hissi, something that which is we can understand, we can perceive. That's what kya umda. What a beautiful answer, in what a beautiful manner he explains it as well. Today, the pride is so much that a person even feels ashamed to ask his own ustads. Now tell me, did Umar radiyallahu ta'ala not know what is taqwa? He knew, but he still wanted more and more, and he lowered himself. And this Sahabi also was free-natured. He answered. He didn't say, no, you my senior, or this or that or the other. No. So Islah ki fikr, the deep concern for reformation. Even the Sahaba had this. And this is supposed to, akhir tak hona chahiye. It should remain right till the end. For a person who wants knowledge, then a prerequisite is humbleness and humility. In fact, yesterday also I explained this concept. And I even said to them, لا يكون العالم عالما حتى يكون فيه ثلاث خصال. That an alim cannot be an alim in the true sense until or unless he has three qualities within him. لا يحتقرن من دونه. He does not look down upon the one who is junior to him. No, rather he promotes that person. He takes him forward. He praises him. You know, on one occasion, Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab asked someone to explain something to another person. He said, go out and go and explain to him. Nevertheless, he goes out and then he starts scolding him. And then he sends a third one now that, listen, go out and tell this person, I told him to make him understand, explain to him, not to reprimand him. Allahu Akbar. So don't look down upon the one who is junior to you. Chu talab barjane talib mustawli mishuwad. You know, when thirst, when enthusiasm overwhelms the seeker, then no mountain can be an obstacle to him, and the deepest of oceans mean nothing to him. He will surpass that, he will traverse that, he will go over that also, but it will not stop him in his thirst. Hazrat Mufti Mahmud Sahab, when he came to Allahabad on one occasion, he actually spoke about the ayat of the Quran Majid, وَقُلْ رَبِّ زِدْنِي عِلْمًا, and say, oh my Rabb, increase me in knowledge. Sheikh Abdul Haq Muhaddith Delvi, actually this is what we're saying about talab. And nothing can stop a person, not even the mountains and the oceans. That is actually the ibarat of Hazrat Shaykh Abdul Haq Muhaddith Delvi. You know, people used to say to Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab, Hazrat, we will come in Ramadan. Nevertheless, Ramadan would then come. But after that, they were not able to come. They did not have the tawfiq, or, you know, you have to humble yourself. That's the time you will able to achieve and you will go somewhere. You know, Hazrat Haji Imdadullah used to say to those who came to him, who was it that came to him? Hazrat Tanvi, Hazrat Gangohi, Hazrat Maulana Qasim Sahab, and Hazrat Maulana Muhammad Hussain Alahbadi. He was one who possessed great spiritual states. But he said to them that you people have come to me. You are better than me. I have gone nowhere. You people have come to me. Rather, I should turn to you. You can be my peer. You can be my mentor. Now, this is how, despite having all of that, he humbled himself so much. وَلَا يَحْسُدَنَّ مَنْ فَوْقَهُ. And he does not have hasad for the one who is his senior. So when he does not have hasad, he will bow down in front of that person. He'll humble himself in front of that person. And ilm will only come if you humble yourself. When you humble yourself, that person will put his tawajjuh on you. You'll achieve something. You will attain something. And the fact of the matter is, وَفَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ. Above every knowledgeable person is yet another one who is more knowledgeable. And the third part is, وَلَا يَأْخُذُ ثَمَنًا عَلَى دِينِهِ. And he does his deeni work with total ikhlas and sincerity. You know, this chair is not our chair. This seat is the seat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the person who sits on this chair and others become focused to him, they turn to him, then he should say exactly what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. So think for a moment that whose seat and whose chair is this? Allah Ta'ala give us the tawfiq. And whatever work we do, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with ikhlas in it. So wasbir nafsaka ma'alladhina yad'una rabbahum. O Rasul of Allah, restrain yourself, keep yourself in the company of those who, seeking His pleasure, call to their Rabb. They make ibadat of their Rabb morning and evening. Morning and evening. A person asked one Arif that if I am holding the leg of the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and at that time the azan goes, so then what do I do? He answered so beautifully that Ajib da'i Allah, that you should go and read your salat, because we are paband of the shariat. Once you have read your salat and then you want to go, he said it so beautifully as well, then go back and hold the leg of the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Go back to your spiritual state or whatever you were doing. That dawlat and that wealth which was in the heart of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then coming from heart to heart, generation to generation, achieve that. Go and search for that. Allahu Akbar. So this wealth of the heart and the soul, this nisbat, as-sina durwesha, buy it just. Go and search, go and look for it. You will find it in the hearts of the awliya. And by sitting in their company, a person will gain ikhlas and sincerity. Now all of this, there is a great need and a necessity to speak about this. وَذَرُوا ظَاهِرَ الْإِثْمِ وَبَاطِنَ. Abandon apparent, external sins, and internal sins as well. You know, I went on one occasion and there were so many muhaddithin there as well. Maulana Taqiyuddin was also there. And then they asked me to say something then, after many people had spoken in that majlis. And then I said to them, up till now, you were speaking about the external dimension of the hadith. And then I said to them, but there is an internal dimension to every hadith as well. You have the Quran, you have the external part of it, and you have the internal part of it, the zahar and the batan. If you want to understand the external part of the Quran, you will have to look at the external part of the ahadith for that type of an explanation. And if you want to understand the internal dimension of the Quran, then you will have to understand it by means of the batn hadith, the internal dimension of the ahadith. Inna yasir al-riya shirkun. Even the slightest amount of riya is shirk. Now tell me, what is riya? Can we see it? Isn't that got to do with the batin? One muhaddith asked me that, where is this hadith? And I said to him, this hadith is in Mishkat Sharif. So what is this riya? Talabul jah wal mal biwasitatil ibadah. For a person to seek fame and wealth by means of carrying out ibadat. So he is making sharik Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his maqsudiyat. He's making his objective something else. He's worshipping Allah. By means of worshipping Allah, he's actually seeking something else. And in ma'budiyat, that's shirk khafi, the minor type of shirk. And the shirk jali, the higher, and the major part, major type of a shirk is where you associate someone else with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the ibadat itself. Allahu Akbar. Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani, he used to say that we all stayed in the valleys and in these narrow alleys of Riya, and we came out of that. So we have to stay away from Riya and ostentation, save ourselves from it, from pride as well. The Buzurgan-e-Deen even say that when we carry out different ibadat, and there is certain expectation or something that we're supposed to achieve by carrying out those ibadat and a'mal, and we do not achieve that, then we need to tell ourselves that maybe, if not one, then most probably all the razail are present in us. Therefore, we are seeing no progress and we are not going forward. So, success is what we want. To kamyabi to kaam se hogi. If we want success, we have to do something about it. So I'm telling the talaba that they must understand the need of this from now. Somebody said that, how is it to Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab, the people with the isti'adad, so much of capacity and capability when it comes to knowledge, ilm, etc., how come they don't come on this side? Meaning spirituality, to practice the practical part of it, this, that and the other, suluk, tasawwuf. He said that they do not have the isti'adad, the capability and the capacity of coming on this side. Our Buzurgan-e-Deen were not pursuing and looking for luxuries. Rather, they turned away from tana'um. Rather, they would stay away from every such thing that would be a hurdle and an obstacle in this path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, we look at the barakat of our Buzurgan-e-Deen, but we don't look at their mehnat. We don't look what type of mehnat they made. And without this mujahada, nothing can be achieved. Look at Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself. How he climbed the Mount Hira, and what type of efforts and sacrifices he made. Myself, even now, presently, I am working and doing so much of tasheeh work on different kitabs. Now let us make dua. Allahumma inna nas'aluka ilman nafi'a. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا ولسانا ذاكرا اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من علم لا ينفع وقلب لا يخشع ومن دعاء لا يستجاب لها. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم بحرمة سيد النبي الكريم صلى الله عليه وسلم.